welcome back. Today I'm gonna show you how to create a soup from the fermented turnip that we have created a couple of weeks ago. Like I have posted a video on the YouTube. So yeah, this was the process we done it, and depend how and where you stored it, you would have this after, let's say, 2 weeks. So this is the soup that we're gonna create using the turnip, some beans of your selection, and then some pork, fresh pork meat. And then that will be served with the boiled potatoes. So for the meat, I select something that has the bones in it. So you can find in the produce section, the meat section, you will have like this little short ribs, or like some other bones that have been done. So this is something we use, and then salt, pepper, garlic, and the chili peppers will use to marinate the meat. So marinating the meat, it was something that was also done before as a way to preserve the food, because back in the days they did not have the freezers, especially the big deep freezers. So they had to create a different ways to preserve the food. So marinating it and keeping like this in a salt, it could stay like that for a weeks before it was actually being used. So the longer it stayed like this, like marinated, seasoned, the meat will just get a different taste, and obviously your soups are just gonna have another kick rather than just dumping the meat into the into the water. So you can do that a day ahead and put the meat in the fridge, and we'll marinate it like that. So also we're gonna use the beans. So beans also, if you're using the dry beans, you can soak them the night before in the water and let it sit like that over the night, or you can cook it the same day, but you just need it start to cook them a little bit ahead of the time. Or you can use the canned store-bought beans, which you would just rinse it and then add it towards the end of the cooking time. So what we're gonna do, we start with placing the meat into the big pot and adding cold water to it. So we'll bring that to the boil and let it cook, let's say for an hour, and like on a low heat, and just simmer it slowly until. And then in the meantime, our beans are also being cooked. So if they were cooked for the longer time, you just drain that water. You don't want that dark water added to your soup. If you're using canned ones, then just rinse them out. Again, you don't want all that black stuff. So towards the end of the cooking time, we also added, let's say, half an hour into the cooking time, we add our fermented turnip. So you would not rinse it or anything, like just drain that water that was sitting in, and then add it to your soup and let it cook. So another step that we're gonna do is creating the thickening for the soup, or we call it zaprashka, where on the we will browning the flour. So you can do it on oil, but here I used lard, which I made it myself, and this is also the way they used to cook before, when the oil was too expensive or inaccessible. So you don't want to burn the flour. You just, like, the idea is this cooks for really a few minutes, but then a really low temperature. So towards the end, you just quickly add like the sweet red pepper powder and stir it quickly, and then add cold water slowly to get a nice consistency. You don't want to add a hot water because then the flour will crumble and then you have these little balls. So once that is done, you just add it to your soup and then let it cook for, another 10-15 minutes, doesn't matter. So until everything combines. And this is what the final product is gonna look like. So in order to serve it, you take out those ribs and the bones and whatever, a separate plate, and then divide the meat and the bones. And then for serving the soup, you just have these little bite-sized pieces of the meat, which really just separates and falls apart. You don't really need to cook it much or whatever. So this is what the soup is. And we also used to eat it with the boiled potatoes, boiled in their skin, and they were just peeled, a little bit salt on it. And so there you go, like you have this very old-fashioned, very tasty and rich soup.